All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the Pencil Neck Geeks Monday Night Raw review. Tonight's review is going to be for July. What day was that? July 8th. 2019. I will be your host on a solo mission today, JP. Macho is out on assignment. Before we get started with the review, let's just pay some bills. Number one, today's episode will be sponsored by Magnets of the Multiverse. Go and check out Magnets of the Multiverse. They are a really cool Facebook group where my good friend Jen actually makes magnets from geek culture and pop culture and comic culture and all that kind of good stuff. And you can catch them at many different conventions and shows here in the Bronx Underground. If you need more information, just go on Facebook and look up Magnets of the Multiverse. Tell them Jay sent you and you will get absolutely no fucking discount. All right, and the next bill that we need to pay is another wonderful Facebook group, and that is our own. It's called the Pencil Neck Geeks, and it's a wrestling discussion group for people like myself. I'll say that, and if you don't know what kind of person I am, you will definitely understand what kind of person I am by the end of this here review. All right, so Monday Night Raw, they were in Newark, New Jersey, right across the street from my backyard here in New York City. And, let's kick the show off. So, if you're looking for blow-by-blow, play-by-play, that's not really what we do here. I'm just going to try to get some of these jokes off, and I might rant a little bit. We're going to try to make this as quickly and as succinct and efficient as possible. All right, so, first off, we start Raw off with a match for the second straight week. And this week we get a tag team intergender elimination match with Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins versus Selena Vega and Andrade Cien Almas, or Andrade. It was a pretty good match. I can't really sit here and say there was anything that I highlighted about the actual match itself. But it was a pretty decent match. We saw Becky made Zelina Vega tap out in about 4 minutes. Then a whole bunch of schmoz bullshit happened because we needed to go to a commercial break, which is a bunch of bullshit. This new mandate of no wrestling during commercials is really fucking stupid. For one, you're gonna have your performers perform back-to-back in multiple matches. Yes, they get a little quick 2 to 3 minute break during commercial, but you might as well just continue the damn match. You got to think about the people that are in the house, the butts in the actual seats. They don't want to sit there and be interrupted every 10 minutes to have some stupid angle that nobody else gets to see be played out. It's going to actually harm more than it helps. I understand that, for the people that are watching at home, you kind of don't want them to change the channel. You kind of want them to stay with you. And a lot of these matches are very telling in how boring they are, because if your fans are turning the channel during your commercial breaks, it means that whatever's going on inside of your TV segments is not holding anyone's attention. And that's something that the WWE really needs to work on. And something that, honestly, all wrestling companies need to figure something out about. But the thing is that now in the YouTube era, it's not a big deal for indie wrestling, and it's not a big deal for smaller promotions like TNA and ROH. However, we know that the independent scene follows WWE's lead. And if the mandate is shorter matches and the ratings start to grow up because of other things, other factors, the whole Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff, then the rest of the industry is going to actually see what's happening like in WWE and take that as the fans or casual fans want quicker matches, and that's just bad. You can't do that. Wrestling is a sport that time actually helps. So the further along in the match you go, the more of a chance you have to tell a story. The more people who are already watching the show will want to stay to see the end of that story. Basic storytelling principles tells us you have a beginning, a middle, and an end. There's no such thing as a 4-act play. And if if each match in and of itself is supposed to be its own little 3-act play, then stopping the actual wrestling that's going on in the match for whatever reason is going to disrupt the narrative of the story that you're trying to tell. Unfortunately, 90% of the people who are on the WWE's roster come from a generation of not being able to tell a proper story. It's like these motherfuckers can't read or have never read. So, let's move on a little bit. Lacey Evans, these are part of my notes that I put down, what I gathered from this first segment of the match. Lacey Evans is dope. I really like Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans nailed fucking Becky Lynch right on the chin, and yeah, you can see Becky was a little frazzled later on in the show. Whenever she was talking, I was watching the show and I noticed she had a little bump right where Lacey Evans hit her. I absolutely love what they're doing with Lacey Evans. I understand that she's not very good in the ring, however, the bitch has a great character. She knows that character. It's fucking amazing, and she definitely has nerves of steel. Everything that comes out of her mouth, even though no one naturally talks like that, everything that comes out of her mouth sounds like a person you would hate to just listen to speak. And I 100% appreciate the character of Lacey Evans. She needed a little bit of work in the ring, but she gets it done on that microphone, and her presence in and of itself is amazing. I think that Baron and Lacey are an awesome couple together. I don't like that little love stink shit that they're trying to make them keep it 100% professional. Like, that's the angle. They're not going with the relationship angle. There have been tons of reports that have come out in the last week or so as to why Baron Corbin has been getting such a push on the program, and a lot of the dirt sheets, so to speak, they basically got word from Dave Meltzer saying that Vince thinks that women absolutely find Baron Corbin sexy. In pictures, maybe not so much, but the way that he moves around the ring, like his little swag, I definitely see what people are talking about when they say that they think Baron Corbin, or women think Baron Corbin is sexy. He does have that kind of look about him. So it's pretty dope. Yeah, Baron and Lacey are awesome together. I think that they complement each other whenever they're speaking, and I think that they have like a chemistry that's severely lacking with Becky Lynch and Seth. Like, Becky and Seth, they clearly don't want to be putting their shit on TV, and you can just tell by the way that they're interacting. WWE loves to emasculate their fucking champions, and that's exactly what they're doing with Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins. We'll get to that a little bit later, but I'll probably rant on that a little bit more, but let's move on. Out comes Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman does a great promo, and his promo is about spoilers. I love that. That's not a guarantee. That's not a prediction. That's a spoiler. Knowing what we know behind the scenes of Paul Heyman having some, control, and Raw being his show, and then after Extreme Rules, it's basically going to be sink or swim with him and Bischoff on their respective brands. Knowing what we know, this is like a nice, cute little Easter egg for the hardcore fans for Paul Heyman to show face, so that fans like myself can see that he's there and he's actually putting work in that he's supposed to be putting in. Again, very subdued, very, very quiet promo from Paul Heyman. And if you know anything about Paul Heyman and his promos, when Paul Heyman speaks softly, Brock Lesnar is the big stick that he carries, and whatever he talks nice and even and smooth and monotone, you can basically bet money on whatever the fuck he was saying in that promo is going to come to pass. Now, in that promo, he said that Brock Lesnar will be cashing in his Money in the Bank at Extreme Rules, either against Kofi or against Seth. Right now, I'm not sure 100% who Seth Rollins, who Kofi's opponent is going to be at Extreme Rules. You know what? Let's just take a couple seconds to look that up, the Extreme Rules card and what we have. So, hold on 1 second. No, you know what? I'm not even going to pause it. Yes, I will pause it. Give me 1 second. Okay, so the Extreme Rules card, so far, what it's looking like is like we just mentioned. We have Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch versus Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans. Extreme Rules match. Winner takes everything. Blah blah. We all know that. You can Google is your friend. And so WWE Championship will be Kofi Kingston versus Samoa Joe. Okay. Now what we were talking about before I paused it was the whole fact that Paul Heyman did a promo about Brock Lesnar cashing in his Money in the Bank against either Universal Champion Seth Rollins or WWE Champion Kofi Kingston. And personally, I think it would be better for the long run if Brock actually cashes it in and wins the championship against Kofi Kingston. Now listen, as a black man, I was excited, absolutely elated when Kofi Kingston won the WWE Championship, because he will have been the first, or he was the first fully black WWE champion. And it's something that I thought I would honestly see in my lifetime. I just never thought that it would be Kofi Kingston. And like I've been saying to my friends, behind scenes, honestly, I love it. But it could have been any fucking body that was black to win that WWE Championship. Like, you could have pulled up Teddy Long, threw him in the damn match, and I would have been rooting for Teddy Long, and I would have cried real tears, the same tears I did when Kofi Kingston won the championship. So for me, it wasn't about being a big fan of Kofi or anybody else in the New Day. It was more about finally seeing someone that looks like me, with my skin color, with my background, actually make it to the top of the mountain, when I thought it was not going to happen. I thought my kids were going to see that before I ever got to see that, and I ain't got no kids yet. So I'm happy that Kofi won, but alright, fam, it's time to give it up and let the big boys play. I love the way that they're booking Kofi and they're trying to make him strong, but we all know that within the next 6-7 months after Kofi loses the championship, Kofi is going to be an afterthought. Kofi will win the WWE Championship once and only once. And honestly, you can put money on that, man. Like, there's no way that Kofi is winning this belt a second time. I just don't see it. I don't see it. The miracle of it would be that if they keep Kofi booked strong after he loses the belt to Brock Lesnar and they build him right back up, then I can totally see them actually giving Kofi Kingston a second title run. But just knowing what I know and how wrestling works, and just it's not going to happen. The minute Kofi loses that belt, his momentum is going to drop drastically. The fans won't give a shit about Kofi Kingston, because now we see on Twitter and social media, people are starting to see a chink in the fucking armor. I made a joke a few weeks ago about Kofi's chest and how it looks like he got hit by I said his chest looks like a melted Barbie doll. And I actually got scolded by a garbage group that I was in, which is why we decided to start our own group. I got scolded about it, about body shaming and about all this other stuff. And I'm like, I don't really care about that. I'm trying to get these jokes off. Someone said Kofi Kingston got hit by a truck when he was 5. And I was like, what, a Tonka truck? That's the kind of humor that I have. And I'm starting to see that same kind of dark humor and that same, for lack of a better word, I'm just going to make one up, non-believedness in Kofi. The fans are turning on Kofi, and I see it, mark my words, in 6 months, Kofi will not be WWE Champion. And in 6 years, he will not have won the WWE Championship or Universal Championship again. Put money on it, baby. Count it. All right? So we move on. We got Miz and Usos versus Elias and the Revival in a 2 out of 3 falls match. The Usos cut a trash promo, so trash I did not even bother to turn the volume up on the television, because the Usos, they basically just do the damn Kids Next Door promo where they just talk in unison or finish each other's sandwiches. You know how that goes. So the Usos cut a trash promo. The Revival gets fall number 1 with a shatter machine completely sucking the fucking wind out of the Usos. and showing why, like how is it that the Usos can do all this fun loving shit and beat the Revival a million fucking times, but the minute you add any type of element to that whole little program, any type of thing, any type of monkey wrench, the Usos can't pull it off. It makes the Usos look absolutely fucking weak. And I mean, they came over after dominating the SmackDown Tag Team division for the better part of a year. They come over to Raw promising that we're going to get, the same treatment. Then they beat the SmackDown Tag Team Champions on multiple occasions. Then they don't get their tag team title shot. They come back to Raw, start fucking with the Revival instead of beating the Revival and fucking knocking them back down the card. We get the Revival gets a fluke fucking win of the championships in a multi-team match, and now the Usos don't have anything for the Revival. That makes no fucking sense whatsoever, and you're a fucking idiot if you think that the Revival and the Usos is money. It's not. If it is money, it's fucking Dominican money. It's money that has no real fucking value. It's Venezuelan money. Toilet tissue, right? Now, we have some great heat by the Usos because the Usos, they can pull off a hot tag really, really, really well. So we get a really good hot tag. And then once that hot tag happens, the one-trick pony Usos, who are just good at hot tagging and hot dogging, they start to have really terrible timing for the rest of the match. So much so that when The Miz is the guy who's hitting all the proper fucking spots in the match, you know your match is trash. And I love The Miz, but Mike, come on. It's terrible. When Mike is the fucking general of the match, when Mike is the workhorse of the fucking match, you should be ashamed of yourself. Third fall goes to The Miz and the Usos again after The Miz saves the Usos from a team that they can no longer beat. Next up, we got... I'm just going to say what I have in my notes here because this was just a segment. Drake's wife is the baddest, yet she's a terrible actress. That ass, though. And Drake gets no buns from his wife. So this big, buxom, beautiful, brown skin and bronze goddess of a wife. Like, first of all, anybody that knows me knows I love big noses with the bump in them. And whenever this man's wife does a side profile, oh my God, let me tell you, my dick, so amazing. These big shiny titties and this gorgeous white dress, nice fucked up teeth, beautiful blue eyes, and a big hook nose. I'm all about it. You should see some of my exes. All right, so, Drake's wife is bad. They talk some bullshit about the 24/7 title, the only fucking segment that's getting any type of fucking shine or burn. And, that's basically what that is. Rey Mysterio now comes out. And as my sister would always say, free Ray Ray. Because poor Rey Mysterio comes out, talks a little bit of shit about smacking niggas around and being back like Cena. He was out for 6 weeks, and now all of a sudden, he defied the doctor's orders and he came back, and they thought he would never wrestle again. In this big triumphant promo, Rey Mysterio gets fucking buried every time this man is on screen. And it's for one reason and one reason only. It's because the damn commentators always call him the biggest underdog in WWE history. So the biggest underdog means that this guy does not belong here. Why are you saying things like the biggest underdog, the biggest little man? Like, it's terrible. Ray is terrible on the mic. Ray is amazing, 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 amazing in the ring. But sometimes I just don't get it done. And I'm sorry, I just can't. Free Ray Ray. So, Bobby Lashley, because Ray makes an open challenge, Bobby Lashley comes out and answers the open challenge. And Rey Mysterio mouths the words, "What the fuck?" It's almost as if Ray didn't know that Bobby Lashley was about to come out. Bobby Lashley comes out and absolutely destroys Rey Mysterio, as he should, because Ray looks the way he does, and Bobby Lashley is black. So, after the match, Lashley cuts a terrible promo. And it's a last man standing match between Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley. Two men who basically got exploded upon last week. And now, and they said Braun's legs weren't moving. Braun has a legit leg injury. If you go and you check the sheets, Braun has a legit leg injury. And what they're going to do is they're going to throw him in a last man standing match with Bobby Lashley. Now, if you're a hardcore fan like I am, that is like a little Easter egg. That's a little cute little thing that they're going to do. We all know that Braun is about to go on injury leave, so we're going to have a last man standing. That should let you know. I'm sorry if this is, a spoiler for you, but that should let you know if you have a brain. Bobby Lashley is going over. Braun Strowman is going to take a seat, and he's going to be gone for a little while, so expect an angle coming from this, right? Now, next, we have No Way Jose versus Cesaro. Cesaro wins with a cloverleaf. Next. Street Profits are great. However, they are the crows from Dumbo. I made this joke to Macho before, and he said he doesn't understand what I mean. I sent him the video to When I See an Elephant Fly, and he basically... He said that he watched it for 30 seconds and he had to turn it off. Why? Because it was very offensive. The WWE has a really bad problem with booking their African American superstars. I do not appreciate how African American superstars, when you come into the WWE as a black man, unless you're built like an Adonis, like Bobby Lashley, and even then it's kind of iffy, you're going to come into the WWE as a fucking joke character. You're going to come into the WWE as Shucky McJiverson. And if you have a fucking tag team partner who happens to also be black, you're going to be Shucky McJiverson and Fried Chicken Charlie. Because that's just what it is. Okay? I'm sorry. I'm sick and tired of black superstars coming into the WWE and getting the short end of the stick. Why is it that we can't have black superstars come in and just be the man? It just never happens. It never happens. If you're a black superstar and you come in as a good guy, you come in as a thug, some type of thuggish, some type of monster, some type of unbeatable fucking mandingo. If you come in as a baby face, you come in as a motherfucking scarecrow, as a fucking minstrel show, as Bojangles, as Bamboozled. You come in as Al Jolson and in the jazz singer, I think that is, or the jazz player. I'm not 100% sure, but you come in on some very racist nonsense, and it's not cool. It's not. You should definitely, black superstars should not be looked at as a niche market, like as you okay, they're not a huge part of our audience, so we can't push black superstars. The coolest superstar of all time is half black, and that's The Rock. But if The Rock was as dark as Bobby Lashley, even with the same amount of charisma, then The Rock would not be the superstar that he is. The Rock is the superstar that he is because of his light skin. When The Rock was wrestling and at the height of his fame, they never acknowledged The Rock as being black. They acknowledged his father, who is a black man and who was the first black tag team champion in WWE. However, they never, ever, ever associate The Rock with being black. They talk about his Samoan ancestry, and that's all based off of his mother. I'm sorry, we need a black champion, we need black superstars, we need black people who can actually be something other than the black guy that does XYZ. Look at Cedric Alexander. He's the black guy that can do flippy shit. Look at Apollo Crews. He's the black guy that used to play football that's a natural athlete. Look at, who else is black that we have? Look at Bobby Lashley. He's just a big black cyborg monster. We don't, and you got the three guys in the New Day. You can sit here and tell me, yeah, they pass around pancakes and they're Shucky McJiverson and Fried Chicken Charlie, but Kofi Kingston is one of the most decorated champions in WWE history. Kofi Kingston is now the WWE champion. The New Day have won the longest reigning tag team champ. Yeah, those are mere fucking crumbs. Crumbs. First of all, Kofi did not deserve to win the WWE Championship. He got that because of happenstance. He got that because someone who has his same moveset but lighter skin that was there, shorter than him, got hurt, and they needed someone in that vein to take the championship. It was this new woke SJW audience that pushed Kofi to get that championship. That was it. That was it. It was the audience, because the audience was sick and tired of someone that they fucking like being shoved down the fucking card and being made to look like a fucking fool. So what the fans did was they decided to hijack the federation. You know what I mean. They decided to hijack the Fed and hijack the fucking main event and made it so that the WWE had to push Kofi Kingston. They gave him the Daniel Bryan treatment, the underdog treatment. But the big difference between Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston, they've been wrestling for around the same amount of time, not in WWE for the same amount of time. The big difference between Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston is that Daniel Bryan understands psychology. He understands how the wrestling match works. He knows it. Kofi Kingston is a fucking spot monkey. He always has been a spot monkey. Every Kofi Kingston match is spot to spot to spot to spot to finish. Almost no storytelling. And when there is storytelling, what is the storytelling? Kofi Kingston can't do it. He's getting beat down. He's got all the ability in the world, but he can't win the big one. And then he finally fucking wins the big one. You can give him 1,000 fucking Intercontinental Championship reigns. You give him 1,000 United States Championship reigns. 1,000 Tag Team Championship reigns. But on his own, and as a star, Kofi Kingston ain't never drew money. I'm sorry. Kofi Kingston ain't money. They're selling merchandise to little fucking kids. Little kids beg their parents for the stupid wrestling shit that they fucking see these wrestlers wearing. However, that's one time for that one kid's fucking birthday where you have a hardcore fan like myself. I will go to a show. I will buy a championship. I will buy the games every year. I don't wear the shirts because wrestling shirts are trash, but I will buy little things. Older fans have disposable income. Kids do not. Kids get told that they can't have something. Older fans, your hardcore fans, the motherfuckers like me who are creating podcasts and things to rant against the creative process that's failing in WWE and just the stupid marks in indie, we're the ones who have disposable income. So if you book the people that we like, everyone says the loud minority. No. We are the majority of people who spend the money on wrestling. We watch wrestling every fucking week, and those cleverly placed ads go to our fucking eyes. A kid is gonna ask his mom for a Roman Reigns t-shirt, whereas an adult won't. We'll buy a Becky Lynch t-shirt, but a kid is not gonna get their fucking parents to take them to Sonic. A kid does not need insurance through Liberty Mutual. A person of my age with disposable income does. So we're the ones watching Raw. However, we, the older majority or the older minority, the vocal minority, so to speak, we are the ones who watch Raw online and skip through fucking commercials. Not because, we don't want to see commercials, but we don't feel like watching a 3-hour show live that we have no fucking faith in. I guarantee you, we're going to watch the licensing fees for All Elite Wrestling go up in the next few years. We're going to watch it. We're going to see it. Why? Because they have people who are interested in this new fucking product. All AEW has to do is not fuck it up. Period. That's all they got to fucking do. All right, we move on. Maria still has a face for floppy disks. She is not a very attractive woman. Nikki Cross has a... this is something I want to say about Nikki. And I'm sorry. I know that I make a lot of jokes at the expense of people. But, whatever. Who cares? They have money. They're famous. I am not. Either one of those things. Have money or famous. So, Nikki Cross has terrible nose symmetry. Go back and watch that split screen interview with Bayley and Nikki Cross. Look at Nikki Cross's nose. Now, since I'm gonna say I'm just going to say right and left. Understand that we're facing her if you go back and watch it. So when I say left, I mean our left. And when I say right, I mean our right. If you look at her left nostril, Nikki Cross's left nostril is actually oval shaped horizontally, right? And Nikki Cross's right nostril is oval shaped vertically. It's very, very disturbing. She might have gotten her nose broken a while back, a couple years ago, and then I guess the symmetry of her nose just didn't work out. But I used to have sex with a girl that looks a lot like Nikki Cross, and so it's pretty hot. Bailey Bailey is shopping face really badly. That's just a nice way to say that Bailey looks like Elmer Fudd in the face. She got all the ass in the world though. Okay, next, the Viking Raiders beat up nobody. So we can just throw that away. When it's a throwaway match and a throwaway segment, I don't give a fuck how impressive the moves are. I'm just gonna fucking run through it like that. Ricochet looks like a deer in headlights. Now, when I say this, I mean, that stupid little scene that before each commercial where a wrestler is walking down the corridor trying not to look at the camera, just looking off to the distance, looking behind the cameraman, looking anywhere but at the fucking camera. This guy, Ricochet, he looks so lost. He is the most wide-eyed motherfucker I have ever seen in my life. Like, fam, why are you looking down the fucking lens of the camera? It makes no sense. You're supposed to, first of all, you're supposed to act like the camera is not even there because you're more concerned with your match. And you, because of the match that is about to happen, you should not look so smiley. You know that you're about to go down there, like I'm about to say. Well, let's just get into the promo. Ricochet talks about that he knows AJ Styles is now rolling with the club once again, and he knows that he has a match with Luke Gallows tonight, but he knows he's going to have to actually face all three members of the club because blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. The whole time, Ricochet is dying a death of 1,000 fucking babies because he looks lost. He looks like someone is trying to offer him candy and he's afraid. He looks like he does not know where he is. He stumbles over his words more than the fucking Miz. And it's clear that this kid has never had to cut a real fucking promo in his life. Instead, all he's done was do flippy shit and just jump everywhere and backflip and dive and fly and point to the ceiling and all this stupid shit that makes no fucking sense in his matches. Like, Macho always fucking says that he heard a joke about somebody saying to him, I think he said it was X-Pac, that was like, yeah, he couldn't wait to get into a fight and hit the guy with the back of his neck. The 630 is the dumbest fucking move in professional fucking wrestling. All those revolutions up in the air, they're not doing anything. If anything, those spins in the air are slowing your fucking momentum as you fucking come down. And you land on your fucking back every fucking time. But when you land hunched up with your back, your spine is fucking poking out. So if someone puts their fucking knees up and you wasn't expecting it, that's a surefire way to break your fucking back, you dummy. Okay. AJ also cuts a promo, and he's gotten a lot better. So we got Gallows versus Ricochet. Gallows does the big dumb oath spots where he keeps looking for approval from the guys at ringside. He ends up getting rolled up with a terrible O'Connor roll or fucking schoolboy where Ricochet actually has his left leg underneath Gallows' arm. So his shoulder was not down on the fucking mat, and the ref counted it. Then AJ cuts AJ cuts the promo talking about, why don't you do what you say you was gonna do? You said you was a real nigga. Let's see if you're a real nigga. Cut this promo. Fight Carl Anderson. Ricochet has a match that's boring as fuck with Carl Anderson, which he finally hits the 630, which is one of the dumbest moves ever. After the match, Styles beats up Ricochet, and then the club beats up Ricochet. They do the little hold him up while Styles does, a fucking phenomenal forearm. And Ricochet, another thing that bothers me about Ricochet, whenever Ricochet gets knocked out or beat or hit with a power move, he keeps his eyes open. Like, does this motherfucker sleep with his fucking eyes open? I don't think I've ever seen Ricochet even blink, honestly. Like, it's terrible. It's terrible. I understand that the reports came out this week that Paul Heyman thinks that teens would love Ricochet, but teens love badass motherfuckers. Teens love guys like Kevin Owens. They love guys like AJ Styles. They love guys like Sami Callihan. Say what you want, but like they love guys like that. They love badasses. They love smart talking fucking badasses. Teens don't fucking like guys like Ricochet. Teens don't like Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio is for children. Rey Mysterio and guys that do flippy shit, they're not for fucking teens. Back in the days in the Attitude Era when teens were watching wrestling the most, teens weren't going on and on about the cruiserweight fucking division in WCW. They were going on and on about The Rock. They were going on and on about Stone Cold. No teens that I knew growing up liked Shawn Michaels. They didn't. Most of the kids that were teenagers around the Attitude Era with me, they were all Bret Hart fans. And I think Bret Hart is shit on the mic, and he's a shit character, and he believes his own fucking hype. Shawn Michaels is one of my top 3 favorite wrestlers of all time, but he was just a flippy little gay boy. And like, most teens didn't like that. They liked all the badass guys. Bret Hart could legit, in his mind, fuck you up. And that's what a lot of the fucking teens like. So, I mean, Ricochet ain't gonna fucking do it. I'm sorry, Paulie. He's just not gonna fucking do it. Now, we also have Sarah Logan, who comes down for a Beat the Clock challenge. I really like the concept of Beat the Clock challenge matches. I think that they're some of the greatest things that wrestling has ever done. The Beat the Clock challenge is just, it's the coolest gimmick ever. And if you're listening to this and don't know what a Beat the Clock challenge is, then why the fuck are you listening to this? You should know. You're a hardcore fan. No one who listens to these kinds of things would not know what a Beat the Clock challenge is. So Sarah Logan has her Beat the Clock challenge match with Bayley. The winner of this match gets to go pick the stipulation of the Alexa Bliss Bayley match for the SmackDown Women's Championship at Extreme Rules. Sarah loses the match in about 4 minutes and a couple seconds. In my notes, I said that Sarah Logan looks like she douches with pond water, and Bayley wrestles like she takes the short bus to school. So you can tell that was a very sloppy, shitty match. However, the finish of the match was pretty cool, and this is what I love about Beat the Clock matches, because Beat the Clock matches, the finish can literally come from out of nowhere. So a lot of times you're gonna have to go home, you're gonna have to go home at any given point in the match, because you need to keep in mind of the TV time and the segments and everything like that. So this match actually got finished with a sunset powerbomb to the corner from Bayley to Sarah Logan, and it looked awesome. So then after that, hold on one second, let me just finish lighting this too. So then after that, we get the second Beat the Clock challenge match, which is Dana Brooke versus Nikki Cross. What I have here in my notes is that Dana Brooke has the best theme song ever. I fucking love that theme song, and it's wasted on Dana Brooke. So we get into the bell rings, and we get into Muscle Butt Mania, because both Bayley and both Nikki Cross and Dana Brooke have muscle butts, and they are fantastic. I have a thing for girls with muscle butts. Yeah, I absolutely love them. This match is trash because Nikki Cross is like, I don't know. I don't want to say Nikki Cross is like slow. Like, she's not slow, she doesn't play crazy well. You know what I mean? She plays crazy like a cartoon character. And I think the best crazy wrestler that we've ever had was AJ Lee. And that's the thing with women wrestlers. A lot of women wrestlers like to play this crazy role, and they don't know how to fucking do it. They look corny as fuck, and they look awkward. The good thing about Nikki Cross is that Nikki Cross looks like she could fuck a few niggas up. So, like, if she was crazy, you could kind of believe it. But these crazy bitches, fucking, who was the crazy? Alicia Fox, stupid, absolutely fucking stupid. When Paige was trying to play crazy, stupid, stupid. AJ Lee was the best crazy female wrestler to have ever fucking done it. And Daphne. I no disrespect, Daphne, you crazy bitch. Yes. So Dana actually loses the match in short work, meaning that Nikki Cross beats Dana Brooke in about 2 minutes and some seconds. Here's something else I wrote. I've never heard a wrestler before they pull their finisher move say finisher. And as soon as Dana Brooke screamed finisher, Nikki Cross kind of just jumped down off of her and fucking beat her with whatever her fucking move is. Now we move on to the segment that I thought was kind of stupid, but also kind of cool, because we had this show-long storyline that I did not mention about how there is a tag team match in the main event with Roman Reigns and a partner of Shane's choosing versus Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre. So they've just been going around to random people who happen to work in the arena. They did a stupid segment with some guy named Lou. They did another stupid segment talking to somebody, and then they find this guy named Gary, who's basically, Gary has a bad leg and a bad stomach, and he basically is just the guy, the janitor, who mops the arena. Yeah, so that's that. Gary and Reigns, so it's Gary Garbutt versus Shane McMahon, and Gary Garbutt and Roman Reigns versus Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre. Now, we're not stupid. When they went to go talk to Gary was taller than Shane and about the same height as Drew. Now, when Gary came out, Gary was all of 5'9", and he was wearing a mask, which Shane said he can wear a mask to save for the embarrassment, which I don't understand. Like, does Gary not see the giant fucking camera rig? I don't know, but I digress. Let's see, here we go. So yeah, the match kicks off. Reigns is doing his thing. We get an accidental tag, and Gary jumps in the ring and does a whole bunch of Cedric Alexander's moves. And yes, Flippy McFlipperstein, Cedric Alexander, was Gary that whole time. Big freaking reveal. And yeah, so when Cedric gets in, has a little bit of hope spots here and there, and then Drew McIntyre just completely obliterates Cedric in a Gary mask with the Claymore kick. Shane McMahon runs, gets the pin. They're about to, Drew McIntyre and Shane were about to beat down Gary and take off his mask. Then Roman Reigns jumps in the ring, does a Superman punch to Drew McIntyre. Shane McMahon tucks tail and runs. Roman Reigns picks up Gary, loosens up his mask for him, and it's Cedric Alexander. And that is how we ended Monday Night Raw. After such a great show last week, that was one of the worst fucking Raws that I ever sat through. And I didn't even watch it live. I actually watched it Tuesday morning, earlier today. And shit like that, I'm like, I don't know what Paul Heyman had his hands on. Word on the street is that Paulie really only is doing a couple of segments like he has been for the last couple of weeks. I don't know what he had his hands on this week. But honestly, whatever he did, it was garbage. Having the Street Profits, as much as I like, Watermelon Walter and fucking Timberland Tommy, as much as I love them and think that their little fucking Coonan act is cute or whatever, they're just, New Crime Time, Another New Day, you know what I mean? As much as they're like that, having them, and they can cut great promos. Having them on the show doing that whole little stupid Key and Peele skit about Liam Neeson's and the Batmans and all of that, that's fucking pointless, especially if they're not going to compete. Macho made a great point earlier in the week to me that the Viking Raiders were the NXT champions and had to drop the belts because guys like Street Profits couldn't beat them. Now the Viking Raiders are on the main roster beating up jobbers every week, and the Street Profits get called up as the current NXT champions. Why is it that the Viking Raiders couldn't come to the show and with the belts the way that the Street Profits are? I kind of looked at it as a King's Road journey, right? On the King's Road, for those who aren't familiar with, I mean, you should be, but there's probably a lot of hardcores who aren't familiar with King's Road. Let me just give you some examples. Wrestler A and Wrestler B. Wrestler A is established. He's an A+ player, right? He is the workhorse, the ace of this pseudo federation in Japan. Wrestler B he just got away from being a young lion. He's no longer one of the ring boys. He has now fully got his character. However, it's early in his career. Wrestler B gets a match against Wrestler A. Match number 1, Wrestler A completely squashes Wrestler B. Few months later, Wrestler B is going on his journey, getting new skills, acquiring new moves, learning new strategies, learning the ropes, as he should, as the journey should go. It's a simple hero's journey story. There is the hero gets cast away, which is a young lion being cast away to go learn his craft. The hero comes, finds conflict. The hero meets his first challenge, cannot get past his first challenge, right? Wrestler B cannot get past his first challenge, which is the big dogs. Wrestler B goes on. Let's say 6 months later, Wrestler B has a couple of wins under his belt. Wrestler B gets another opportunity to face Wrestler A. This time, Wrestler A, it's still kind of a squash, but Wrestler B gets a bunch of moves in. Go a couple of months, Wrestler B gets a secondary title. Now, Wrestler A, still doing his thing, wins, his belts or whatever, but Wrestler A loses the title. Wrestler B loses the Wrestler A title. Wrestler B gets a couple of good matches under his belt, some title victories that he's defending his title, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Wrestler B loses the mid-level title. Now Wrestler B graduates to the lowest level of the top level, the ground floor of top level. Wrestler B finally gets to see Wrestler A in match number 3. This time, Wrestler A still wins, but it's 50-50, right? Now that Wrestler B is in the main event, he's going to have more opportunities to face Wrestler A in matches, right? In the 50-50 match, Wrestler B does not get hit, or Wrestler B gets hit with the finisher move, but kicks out. Wrestler A's finisher move, but kicks out. Wrestler B goes for his finisher move, but doesn't hit it. Wrestler A realizes the sense of urgency. This is match 3, the 50-50 match. Realizes the sense of urgency, hits Wrestler B with his second finisher move again. Wrestler B loses the match. Couple of months, they go down their own paths. Finally, Wrestler A maybe wins the title again. Maybe not, but a big profile match where Wrestler A and Wrestler B are now neck and neck. Wrestler B has now become Wrestler A1. So now, Wrestler A and Wrestler B, or Wrestler A1, I'm just going to say Wrestler B to keep it, so you can follow me. In this final confrontation, or this latest confrontation, which will be match 4, Wrestler A loses the match. Wrestler B goes over. Wrestler B pulls out his finisher move. Now, any match that goes on from here on between Wrestler A and Wrestler B, now the fans have this built-up rivalry. The fans know that Wrestler A is capable of being defeated by Wrestler B. The fans have now gotten behind Wrestler A, and Wrestler A finally, Wrestler B, and Wrestler B, because of his big win, finally becomes the king along the King's Road. He finally gets that win. The king or the hero, whoever in the journey, has to suffer setbacks. They have to fucking struggle. The everything, the odds have to be stacked against them, so that it's that much sweeter when Wrestler B makes it to the top of the mountain and makes it to his final destination along the King's Road. So that's what that is. And there we have a severe lack of storytelling and psychology. There's going to be a lot of people who sat and listened to everything that I said about King's Road and everything like that, and they're going to be like, well, that's stupid, because they just want to see cool moves. Those are the worst kinds of wrestling fans. Those are the worst kinds. I'm sorry. So don't be a mark and don't be a smart. Just be smart. Be logical. We've been conditioned in how to watch storytelling unfold and how to follow stories since the days that we are born. Okay? Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jill came down, lost her crown, and Jack came tumbling after. Like this, it's point A, point B, point C. Something happened. They went up the hill to get water. This bitch fell, and then this nigga went back down with her. Beginning, middle, end. Just be fucking better. So, that was Raw for July 8th, 2019. This has been JP. I was on a solo mission. So, for Macho and for myself, because I'm the only one here, I'm not going to do that stupid catchphrase that Macho does. But, yeah, I guess I'll see you for SmackDown tomorrow. All right. Have a good one.